the government did a hell of a job. They announced, not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, if you were watching the 5 o'clock press conference, and don't quote me on exact times, but Trump announced that we'd be doing a, $350 billion program that the banks would initiate, announced it to America. And lo and behold, last Friday the 3rd, it was rolled out. A lot of speculation went into how everybody scrambled from CPAs to banks to third-party firms trying to, from the IBAT, trying to help community bankers. Everybody scrambled to figure out what it was going to be, and it changed repeatedly over the course of that, from that Wednesday to April 3rd, until, and in fact, still changed April 3rd with new applications and different information coming out, and continue to change on Saturday and on Sunday with what the process was kind of looking like. So all of us here at the bank, we were rolling through those changes as fast as we could, and a little bit of duplication, but can't stress enough that the government did do something within a very short period of time, even though they didn't have it completely understood as to how they would roll it out. So fast forward, we now know the process a little bit better from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The loan itself is called the Payment Protection Plan. There's actually, the one that we're going to talk about, there's actually 2 loans that the SBA is concentrating on during this time period. There's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL. That is the loan that you can only find on the SBA.gov website. No banks can do that loan for you. That is more of a traditional style of SBA loan. I don't know all the details on that because since it doesn't pertain to us, we're not at all trying to learn the details on that. There is some, if you look at the website, you'll see something about a $10,000 forgiveness, but that's when you, my knowledge is, that's when you apply for the loan. Say 50,000, the first 10 is supposed to be forgiven. I highly advise you don't take my word for that. Go on the SBA.gov website and check that out for yourself. There's been a lot of communication back and forth over the last 4 or 5 days that, you can have one or the other, but not both. To the best of our knowledge to date, we believe you can have both. However, it cannot be for the same thing. So in other words, when we talk about this PPP program in a minute, if you're applying for the PPP program, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, you cannot go to the EIDL and say, I need payroll. So that could change. You may find out something different after you look at the website, but that's what we know so far. So just keep that in mind. This is all what we are learning on the fly. So let's get into the PPP program. The idea of the design of that is so that the banks, for the first time, if I recall in my banking history, to really facilitate the SBA program on their behalf in the disaster that we're in now with the pandemic. So the program is outlined like this. It's now a 1% loan. That's changed several times over the course of the last, up till about Friday midday, I think. It's 1%. It's 6 months deferred payment, interest only for 24 months. So what that means is you get the loan at 1%. You don't pay anything for the first 6 months. Then you're going to pay the bank interest only for the remaining 17 months. Whatever the balance is due, you're going to need to be able to prove what you use the funds for to see if you can be 100% loan forgiven. So I know you don't have the sheets in front of you, but we have what we're sending out to our clients of Texas First Bank and those who have been inquiring is a worksheet to be completed. And I'm sorry, I didn't print one here, but there's a worksheet that can be completed that we can send out to y'all. That kind of gives you an idea of the calculation, which is really 2 months. It's actually 2.5 times your monthly payroll. Okay, so that payroll needs to be documented in the form of a W-3 or your 941s. A 1099 employee does not count. You cannot use your 1099 employees if you have those folks. You can also use your rent, your utilities in the calculation on the middle section of that worksheet that we'll send out. And you can also use your benefits. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. You can use your payroll 2.5 times. You can use your benefits that you pay out and your insurance you pay out. When you get the funds, you can use a portion of that for your utilities, mortgage interest, and on your commercial building. and your rent. 75% of the loan amount that you get must be used for payroll to be forgiven. All right. So you can use 25% of that for the rent. For example, if you have a high rent or utilities that equal, 25% of that, you can use that. If you are lucky enough to use 100% of that on payroll, then you have a better chance of being 100% forgiven. There's also a borrower information sheet that we're sending out, an application. There was a bunch of applications that went out probably starting on maybe Wednesday of last week. Many customers and many people were calling saying, why doesn't Texas First Bank have the application out when every other bank has it out? Many of those banks are now not doing those loans.
Right.
So there's a reason why we waited. They changed the application. We found out on Friday, the 3rd, sometime in the morning, and we didn't know about the new application change until about noon. We had to go back and have everybody redo the application. So as you're kind of getting what I'm saying, it's very fluid and has changed all along the way. So there's 3 things we need: the worksheet, the borrower information sheet, which has information we came to find out over the weekend and Friday that was not on the application that the SBA required. So we have an information sheet, a worksheet, and an application. So it's 3 items. The payroll is, again, W-3 and 941s. If you've read some of the information, people have said you can get something from your accountant. You can, but it has to be backed up by not the W-3 or the 941. We've come to find out that is the golden child to have in the file. If you have either a W-3 or 941, the application, the information sheet, and the worksheet for me, it's all I need. It's very, very simple documentation. It's an unsecured loan, no collateral. So at the end of the 24 months, if you cannot prove that, is our understanding, if you cannot prove that you use it on payroll, you may end up with a balance due at that time. It'll have to be renewed by the bank and will not be 100% forgiven. So what I've advised all my customers so far is to go ahead and keep track of those funds as best you can, what you use the money on, so that when it comes time for forgiveness, you can prove it up. Let's see. Something very important, I almost forgot. So you may be hearing some banks are doing them, then all of a sudden you find out they're not. Texas First Bank is doing the SBA PPP loan. However, we're going to do our customers first. Non-customers are going to have to go to the back of the line, unfortunately. Hope you all understand, if you're a bank customer, we got to get you taken care of. We're going to approach each non-customer case-by-case basis. We really would like to ask those customers to bank with us. Can't say that it's a requirement in a troubled time like this. It's really not. But, I'll be honest, we ask yourself, would you want to bank at a bank that does loans like these and helps people out, or would you want to bank somewhere else? So, and then believe me, I'm going to tell you, there's some great banks in town. Love them. Know the guys there. Can't say a bad word about any of them. But the Texas First Bank program is working because we have an SBA department that already handles SBA loans, and we're a preferred lender. Again, we've got great banks in town. I know them well. Go to Rotary with them. They're fantastic people. So just keep that in consideration if you apply and you're a non-customer. I respect the relationship you have with my friends as well at those banks. So, but we'll take you as fast as we can if you're a non-customer, as soon as we can.
And Frank, you're able to give us the checklist and everything. I know they'll be able to find it on SBA, but quickly we'll be able to provide that and send that out as well.
Yeah, I print this. It's a 1725 page long deal on the SBA.gov. You can find the stuff, but what we give you is also a borrower summary. I believe I sent that into Lorraine.
Yeah.
It kind of takes this information and tries to summarize the best we can. There's still a lot of situations that we don't know the answers to. We know churches can apply. We know that your 1099 employees can apply individually. So if you do have 1099 employees, they can actually, they're self-employed, so they can go apply for this program. But how that, how you work with that, we can't answer that, I had a restaurant ask me, what do I do to pay my employee if he's 1099, but I can't pay him because I don't have the money and he's 1099. I've got no answer for that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his employee can apply for the lost income. He's going to have to go back to work, but I logistically don't have an answer of how you manage that process. And if you've got, anything undocumented that's not on the 941 or W-3, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to put that in for the loan request.
And Frank, how are you handling the request? If I've got all of my information prepared and ready to go, do they call you? Is it an email? You said you had how many hundreds of emails just this morning?
I'm at 122 right now.
But what's the best thing we can do to work with you, your customers, and possibly others that are future customers? How can we best be prepared and do this right?
Yeah, and I hope you don't mind my bluntness, guys. I'm just honest, and in the interest of efficiency, we're just trying to do them as fast as we can. If I could be blunt and honest, when they come in as fast as they're coming in and some of the information is lacking, I'm literally spent all weekend just trying to file them to figure out who had what, who was missing. Didn't get a whole lot of them processed because information's missing. And then you go on to the next file and the same thing. So the best possible thing I can get is a complete file, which is the W-3, 941, either or. Both is great, but either or. I like both because then I can go back and look at it in case a customer is not sure what a W-3 is, or sometimes not sure what a 941 is. If you can get me both, that's great. Accountants usually have those for you. The application, the worksheet. If you mess up the worksheet, doesn't matter. Send it to me. I'm going to call you anyway and go over it with you. We've corrected a lot of worksheets and a lot of loan applications, and people have shorted themselves 80,000, 50,000, 2,000. Some have overshot a little bit. So we're going to end up calling you anyway. So best thing you can do is email me the package, and I'll call you as soon as I possibly can.
And they can go to any Texas First throughout the region.
And you can drop it off as well. If you want to drop it off at Broadway or, Stewart Road or Pirates Beach or Crystal Beach or Texas City or wherever, you can drop it off any one of those locations. Say, here's our package, give it to whoever can process it. I'm not a greedy man. So whoever you want to give it to is fine. We'll get you taken care of.
Perfect. Lorraine, do we have questions?
We haven't asked for questions yet. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box. The chat box is at the bottom of your screen, most of you. So we'll take questions now that you have. Kyle had sent one in earlier. Did you get that from me? Well, it's probably in the hundreds of emails that you have, right, Frank? So let me see if I can.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I should have thought about that before I just emailed it to you, but I'll see if I can find it real quick. I know I can. In the meantime,
our email's not necessarily the fastest right now. They're coming in pretty fast. We're pretty high tech, but we're getting electronically challenged at times here. I don't have anything from you, Lorraine. Did you put it on the? There's a chat button I can click down here. Hey, I'm not a technological guy. So there's a chat button I'm seeing down here.
Yeah, where can we get an application and forms online anywhere? And so that was Cara Campbell.
Okay.
Cara Campbell.
We don't have them online.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. We don't have them online mainly because as we're finding out, many banks are either not doing it or stopped doing it. We can't handle the whole community. We're going to start with our customers first and then start diving into the local communities that we're in to try to help those folks as best we can. So right now it's the managers at each location can send it in, or the lenders at each location can send it in to you via email, or get it from the chamber.
Yep, we'll have them here. I saw some other questions come through, Lorraine.
Yeah, I was just looking for Kyle's and I found it. Let's see, we've got Julie Johnson. As a nonprofit, do we not have any? We do not have any owners. We can just skip this section. What do we put in the ownership section?
I believe we've been told to go ahead and put who the director is to sign that, or the person in charge of the nonprofit to go ahead and put their name in that section.
Okay.
And that's what we know so far.
Okay, then
Finish tomorrow, guys.
It could change.
Angie Brown asked, do employees have to be working to be paid through these loans if we can't open all physical locations?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, Angie. So the idea of the PPP loan, if I didn't say that in the beginning, and forgive me if I didn't, was to basically put people back to work and keep people getting paid, to keep the rents going, to keep the mortgage payments going, to keep food on the table. So the trick is for restaurants and those types of places that can't function at all, and I'm sure there's a lot more than restaurants, is what do you do with the funding? One of the sections on the worksheet and one of the rules is you got to be able to spend the payroll money that you get in an 8-week period. And there's a, let's see if I can pull one up here real quick. There's a date that you have to do it by. Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Frank, we have some really good guidelines on our website too regarding that. That's
I
simple.
believe you have to do it by June 30th, but you have to spend that money that you get. In other words, on payroll, you can't use it to, buy new cars and do whatever you want with it. Whoops. Okay, I thought I lost you for a second there. So if you've got people that are not at work currently, you're going to have to make a decision on what to do.
Okay. I found Kyle's. Kyle said, during the National Task Force updates, we hear about SBA monies being rapidly distributed to businesses. However, when businesses go to their banking relationships, they are told the receipt of monies could be 2 to 3 months. What is the reality? What is the legitimate expectation of turnaround time?
That's a good question. So give you an idea, I can't speak for all banks, but I put an application in on Saturday and I had confirmation on Sunday, and we funded one of them 5 o'clock last night, and the other one was sent out to the customer to sign today, and it'll probably be funded by tomorrow morning.
That's incredible.
So our turnaround time is, now that's the beginning of the process. So these were applications we started to work on Friday, figured our way through it, completed and cleaned up and went back and fixed on Saturday and Sunday. And then by the time Monday came around, we started to kind of figure out how it needs to go through the system. The system refers to, there's an SBA platform system that SBA preferred lenders has. The non-SBA banks don't have it. So they have to go through extra steps, which is why I think many of them went ahead and said, we're not going to do it. It's too complicated. But once we figured out how to get through the system, now we understand how the loans can be done a little bit quicker. But now that we understand that, that also means we're going to start pumping out more loans. So I would guess, as the processors that we have, they're used to doing a few loans per day, not 30 or 40 loans per day. Even though it's a simple loan process, I would guess I would give it about 5 to 7 days from the time we get the approval. So let's call it week and a half at the most right now, if I had to guess, even though I just did 1 in 2 days.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's great information.
And we might be able to keep that up. I don't want to promise and over promise, under deliver there. That would be a bad thing. So we want to try to at least live up to some sort of 2-day thing. And I want to go back a step. If y'all were listening to the media, and I hate to say it because it did such a great job, the only thing the government really did bad was saying you could apply the same day and get funded the same day. They have no idea what they were talking about logistically at any bank level to be able to do that. At some point in time, it will be that simple, but probably towards the back end of it, when there's not hundreds and hundreds of applications sitting on every banker's desk in America. So I think it's possible, but right now that it's not logistically realistic.
Frank, you emailed me 4 documents, which anybody that wants these, I can go back through the registration list and send everybody this information. It's a PPP loan calculation sheet. It's a Paycheck Protection Program explanation. It's a blank borrowers. That's the blank form they need to fill out. Is that right?
Right.
And, okay, and the PPP summary. So is that everything one would need to apply?
Yes. So the summary is just to give you some guidance to help you understand the process and kind of do what you need to do as far as documentation. And that summary's, to be honest, that summary's from Friday. So that's why I'm going to stress the W-3 and the 941s are extremely important. The summary, I believe, says a 12-month statement from your accountant is also eligible. Now, if for the folks that are getting in the weeds, you can take your first quarter and do a 12-month rolling, but you're still going to have to be able to give us that W-3 941. We believe that's critically important on these right now. So the summary is to give you the guideline, the worksheet, the borrower information sheet, and the application are the three things we need.
Okay. And I'll send that to everybody after the call.
Well, and Lorraine, for people Facebook Living this too, we will be able to put those documents within our website.
That's what
There's a way that we can download that, so anyone that's watching can go and have access to those documents. And as they change, Frank, we will just make sure that we're keeping a close eye on it too if anything changes to update.
Yeah.
Which is what we're doing with all this rapidly changing information that we're receiving.
And
hourly.
they can always email me, Gina, as well, because I've got them, and I'm happy to send it. LGRUBBS, lgrubs@galvestonchamber.com.
Yeah,
I'll be
we'll
happy
get
to
that to
email
them.
them. Okay.
Was there some questions we missed? Because I see a lot of
Yes.
chats
What
here.
employees are included in the calculations? Did you answer that one?
What employees? So basically, we're going to look at that W-3 and that 941. Whatever that dollar amount says, that's going to be your dollar amount that we're going to base that loan on. So in other words, if you all have a calculator, if you have $100,000 in annual W-3 or 941s, 941s are your quarterly taxes. So it shows what you paid your employees. You times it by 2.5. All right. That's, I'm sorry. Yeah, you should be, hold on a minute. I'm just going to go to the cheat sheet. My brain's a little tired these days.
That's all right.
I'm going to give you an example. I had a customer who had $495,000 in payroll for 12 months. That means there were $41,280 per month. Times that by 2.5, it was $103,000. So how your employees are paid is going to be according to that W-3 or 941. Doesn't matter if they're part-time, full-time. It's going to be the dollar amount that's pulled off of that form.
Okay.
At least that's what we know so far. I'm going to keep saying that because that's what how we've been told.
Here's another question. I have a client who is a single shingle LLC with no office and no employees. He's in startup mode and has not taken any money out of the business yet for income. He's living on savings. Does he have any recourse with these programs? So he's in startup.
Okay. So the company has to have been started before the pandemic happened. So before February 15th. I'm assuming he started up before that. If he doesn't have a 941 or a W-3 to go with it, I don't know that there's anything he can do. He may have to go through the EDL program and check that out.
Okay. Perry Harnett. Sorry. Are we able to open business accounts with First Texas Online at this time?
That's a great question. I should have been prepared for that one. I apologize. We are opening accounts online. Many of our locations are appointments in the lobby only. Our managers will get those accounts open for you. All the lender needs to do or the bank staff needs to do is get in touch with the manager so that they can get that account open for you. Yes.
Julie Johnson wants to know, what are the comparable documents for nonprofits?
Great question, Julie. I don't have anything on nonprofits right now. And I don't know that there's anything different just yet. I apologize. We'll have to do a little research on that one.
I'll chime in here just a little bit. From a nonprofit perspective, we have quarterly 941s. So it's the same for a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah, I thought you meant like if the application was different or any of that information. Yeah. The income, anything 941s, W3 is best you can do. Whatever you got.
Okay, I don't see any more questions at this point.
Someone said, Brian Lepo said Frank's a rock star.
Oh.
There you
Brian,
go.
Brian.
Hey, there's Brian. Yeah, we've got lots of people watching. Well, if we don't have any other questions, just as a recap, let's go through just a recap on having your information complete. Sounds like to me by the time they drop that off. So let's just recap really quickly, remind people of the locations. And Frank, thank you so much again for all that you're doing. We're so grateful to Texas First and all of our community banks, but great job. I think the best thing that I've heard today is the fact that you're not promising anyone a turnaround of 2 days like what you just experienced, but if we could get some money in people's hand within a week or two, we could save a lot of businesses, and that's what we're here to do and what you're here to do. So that's some good news. Thank you.
Yeah, we just to give you a little snippet here, I'm gonna, if you bear with me for just a second, we are keeping track of the jobs that are saved and the money given. If I can find it real quick, we have done $39.8 million in loans, and that is the ones that have received their SBA reference number and have funded, is what I'm understanding. That was 3,677 jobs saved.
Wow.
That you have to go, elsewhere to find employment or go on unemployment, because they're going to get paid by the business. And actually, I think it's over 4,000. They told us this morning. So I think this is an old email. Yeah, this was Monday at 9:31. They hit me with a bigger number. I just don't have it. So it's going to grow. We're going to do our best to help everybody.
I mean, that's just since Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Oh, and
4,000 jobs since Friday.
Yeah. And Gina, if I could, I want to give a shout out to our friends and competitors, both Moody and Hometown.
Yeah.
The three of us have done a joint loan that it kind of got put on the back burner because the SBA program came out. But the three of us also have an internal loan program that is available. It's not as great as the SBA programs that are available, but if for some reason you can't, qualify for the others, or you need some additional assistance after the SBA program gets, if you apply for the PPP, I strongly invite you to seek out Moody, Hometown Bank, Texas First Bank, and ask about that program as well.
And that's a low interest
yes,
loan too, and up to, is it 50,000? 50,000?
We actually didn't I don't believe we put a limit on
Okay.
that. I should have printed that, but
I think
one
Jeff Ostra might be on here with the GEDP, who had worked so closely with those banks right after Ike, and it proved to be very successful. And so I'm glad you brought that up, that's another alternative.
Absolutely.
The main thing, the number one thing for our businesses and our community is liquidity and getting some quick cash to them for their survival. And our community banks and that work is just does not go unnoticed, friend. We thank you. How many hours are you working? All day, all night? Yeah.
I left
not keeping up.
7:30 Saturday, 7:30 Sunday. Got home 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah, we're all working hard on our business's behalf. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Tomorrow we have 2 webinars. We will host one with State Representative Mays Middleton, and we have we're hosting with all of our county chambers of commerce. We're happy to be hosting Congressman Randy Weber on that webinar. So please tune in tomorrow. This is sort of our life now, these Zoom meetings. I'll be glad to meet with people in person again. All right, any final thoughts, Frank? And you'll keep us updated if anything changes and all those things. We'll be watching. We'll keep our website updated too, our COVID-19, www.galvestonchamber.com. You can go on there and get lots of information. So Thank you.
for
Final
having
thoughts, Lorraine? Anything we missed?
I will make sure that I email everybody these documents that Frank was kind enough to send me. And if you guys have any other questions, I recorded this, so we should be able to share it with you within the next day.
Great. Well, y'all make it a good one. Thank you all so much. It's so good to see your beautiful faces out there. Thank you, Lorraine, for setting this up and
Betcha.
coming in today. We hope to see your faces tomorrow.
Bye.
promise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.